Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get recording, and let's get this party started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Forex and crypto analysis. I appreciate it. It's your boy ABK. Had a little bit of difficulties starting up. I apologize for those who were waiting, but I also thank you for waiting as well, because you're about to get this value, right? So let's go ahead and get this started. And so let's go over this fundamental analysis. Monday today, 11:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have RBA rate statements for the Australian dollar. And before I continue, let me make sure that this is actually my time. Yes, okay, just making sure. Need to make sure because I don't want to give inaccurate information. So yeah, 11:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have Australian dollar news, RBA rate statements. I don't expect that much volatility in the Australian dollar market, but you can watch for that. There is going to be FOMC meeting minutes at 1 p.m. Wednesday for the US dollar, so you want to watch for that on Wednesday weekly reversal, right? Thursday we have Federal Chairman Powell. He's going to be speaking. Watch for that at 11 a.m. for any type of sudden, well, not really, but sudden movements in the market, and especially at 11 a.m. there should be definitely movements with the US dollar. 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, there is CAD unemployment rate and employment change. So this is where you could expect definitely at this time Canadian dollar news. I know that my guy Cam, he's gonna really want me to catch him on his analysis, and he's gonna want to do like trading news events, and maybe I'll drop that in my chat, see if you guys want to tag along to see how I trade news with my guy Cam. So yeah, we'll go ahead and see that later on, but that's a what if type of thing, right? So let's go ahead and go on over to the charts. US dollar, at first I did have this marked up here, but then I'm just gonna be like, you know what, let's just start off with a new pair, new week, new month actually. So let's go on over to the monthly time frame. Gonna go over brand new charts for everything except for the pairs that I'm already in trades on. All right, so monthly time frame on the US dollar, we have this engulfing bullish candle after a doji candle. So this is starting to tell me on the monthly time frame, you have a doji candle right here, and then you have the engulfing bullish candle right here. So that's right there is telling me that this might be really starting to turn around. The US dollar might be really starting to say, okay, now I'm getting ready to change. My bias from being bearish to bullish. So this is something I'm definitely going to be watching for, but I am going to set this zone here as an important zone because that's the zone where the US dollar bounced off 1, 2, 3 months ago and 4 months ago during December and January. This is where the support that it bounced off of, where it previously hit back in 2018, 2017, late 2017. So that's going to be something that you really want to watch out for. You want to watch out and make sure that you don't try to sell this and then it gets here. If the DXY comes back down and then you try to sell something right there, you just want to watch that, personally speaking. And then also, from what I can see here clearly, there was some reactions down over here where price had broken last month. So now I'm kind of expecting price to come back down to retest this, but that's besides the point. I have to go lower into the time frames to see what's going to happen. And then my next level that I'm looking for long term for the DXY naturally to come in touch is up over here at 94.712, 94.122. So I'm just going to be marking those up on the monthly time frame. Weekly time frame, what I can see, and this is something that I mentioned last week, is that from this bearish push to the downside, and I do know that this is not an impulsive move, but it was a straightforward move down before price ended up pushing up, right? So I'm going to go ahead and fib this out, template shush, that's what I call it. And so it's been respecting from this high to this low. It's been up here respecting inside this Fibonacci level, right? Inside this Fibonacci zone. And so for me personally speaking, although yes, like I said, I do start to see on the monthly time frame that we are starting to get signs that the DXY is going to go bullish. I still have yet to see what it's going to do right here. Now, with that being said, am I going to like try to really sell hardcore at my sell box area with the weekly time frame? I mean, with the monthly time frame showing me those signs? Maybe not. Maybe I won't try so hardcore, but I definitely am looking for sales for the DXY over here. Definitely, I'm looking for these sales right here until these highs get broken. This is what I'm really watching the DXY to fall. Now, what I really wanted to do though is I'm gonna hide all this real quick. I do expect price to reject off of this, especially with the weekly candle closing like that. We might start to see some consolidation here. But what I would really love to see happen from this bullish move is for price to come down, like maybe back down to like 91.114. Maybe that's asking for a little too much, but just a retracement down from price making these highs, just a retracement before continuing to the upside is what I'm really watching for. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this back up here, go on to the daily time frame. Oops. Now, daily time frame, I don't really consider this an engulfing candle on a daily, so, but daily time frame, we do see a doji candle right here, so that could be showing a potential reversal right here that may be happening, and especially it's going on right in my sell area. You guys know the 71% fib, which is at 93.109. That's where I like to look for my sells at, and I am buying EURUSD right now long term. I still am in a buy, so I am looking for the DXY to really push down, but again, I'm not really looking for it to go too low. I'm gonna hide this once more because I wanted to see this on the daily more. I'd really want to see from this push to up here for price to come back to like 90.744 and then continue going to the upside. That's kind of what I want to see long term, but I don't think that that's gonna happen. This is like a bigger picture type of thing. But what may be what ends up happening is this right here. Going over to the 4-hour time frame. I'm gonna map this out and then see what it's going to do. But from this 4-hour bullish push, 91.924, since it's so close to this supply zone that's now considered to be a demand zone, since it broke through that and it was just really bullish on it, I'm just really expecting price to come down to like this area. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually set an alert at 92.108, and I'm gonna watch and see. This is where I want to see price come down to, and then I'll start to maybe say, okay, now the DXY, since it's in an uptrend on the lower time frames and it's starting to show signs that yes, it is wanting to go bullish, especially on the monthly time frame. Now I'm gonna start thinking of starting to switch my buys to okay, it's going to a buy. You know, when it shows the signs, that's when you want to be. You want to start. You don't want to marry any type of analysis. You don't want to marry any type of bias, I should say. Sorry. So this is gonna be 61.8 fib for potential buys on the DXY, right? So obviously that means for USD/XXX pairs, I'm going to be looking for bullish moves, and for XXX and USD pairs, I'm going to be looking for bearish moves. So yeah, what I am expecting, I'm really going to be watching for price to do is push down over here to 91.924. That's what I want to see personally, and then the push to the upside. Right? And then if this fails, if this ends up not working out, like let's say if price comes down and then it starts to drop lower and it comes to 91.327, that's when I'll say, okay, well then now I want to see price come down to 90.742. So I'm just going to go ahead and also use this as a point of interest that if a price ever does come down to. Now, if it does what I want it to do, then this is not going to be necessary, right? But I'm just going to be watching it for possible possible long-term buys. And I'm gonna have this just chilling right here, you know? I'm not gonna really be paying attention to it. I'm not gonna have the fib mapped out for it. I'm just gonna have it chilling there, but I am watching for this play right here, in particular for the DXY. Because I am, like I said, especially on the 4-hour time frame, once the 4-hour and the daily, even the daily time frame is showing that it's bullish, once I start seeing that, then I really can't be saying that, okay, I'm going to look for sells. So overall, that's what I'm looking at for the DXY, for it to push down just for a retracement, the continuation to the upside. All right, going over to arbitrage. Yeah, hold on, I'm about to go over to I'm about to go over there real quick. Just give me a second. Want to go over to the weekly. Now, same thing, guys. You guys remember I've been talking about this. Let me get rid of all this. I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, cool. You guys, weekly time frame. I've been waiting for this buy to happen, but I was like, okay, until this breaks out, I'm going to be bearish on it. Once it broke out, now I want that retracement. It's the same thing. Nothing's really changed for me on arbitrage weekly. I want that retracement down to 91.958, then continuation to the upside. And what does that line up with? Well, it's 91.896. So this one's a little lower or slightly higher, but it's the same thing. I'm still looking for that same area for both on my technical, for both my technical analysis and for my arbitrage analysis, because this is going to start calling for a buy very shortly. We already have the weekly time frame. Arbitrage Z is over the whatchamacallit, date. I forgot what it's called. But it's under this line right here. I'll remember it later. And then it's all Little Pearl. It's also under this line right here. So once it crosses through the Little Pearl, that's when you know it's going to be really on and cracking. But I want to see this retracement, then a continuation to the upside on the weekly. Daily time frame. Daily time frame extremely bullish. It's been bullish since March 3rd. Called for the buy continuation, you know. 4-hour time frame though is starting to call for a sell, which is also making me like, okay, yes. Well, first and foremost, I'm about to literally get into a EURUSD buy as soon as I get off of this analysis based off of this alone. But again, with the 4-hour time frame, I want to see this push to the downside. Like I don't trade the dollar. I don't know that many brokers that do have the dollar that you could trade it, but if you can, this is really what I'm looking for. Putting my stop loss all the way up to these highs and then watching for this to fall. Like this is a perfect setup, both on RB and on here, for me to look for this type of retracement, continuation to the upside. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this alert on the DXY. So I'm gonna do short exit all, and I'm gonna have it only once. So once I get that alert once, that will let me know that, okay, you gotta watch this, because now this is gonna potentially turn around, right? And so I'm watching it to come, like I said, I'm wanting to come to 91.875 really, but I'm just gonna be taking it down over here. Again, I don't trade it, but for those, if you can, by all means. But I am looking for a bearish DXY this week. All right, so that is for the DXY. Go on to the 1-hour time frame. I'm pretty sure it's setting up for a buy, but I like the 4-hour more than the 1 hour. But for short-term wise, hey, if you want to take this, by all means, because actually now I'm really looking at this. Let me go on over to technical analysis on the 1-hour time frame real quick. On the 1 hour, yes, I am actually looking for a possible retracement from this low to this, from this high to this low. A possible retracement could be possible where price comes back up to 93.191 and then falling down. This could be very much possible. What happens later on today, but again, that's if this 1 hour buy plays out, which I don't necessarily believe it will, but it can. So just because I don't like the buys on this, personally speaking. I like the 4-hour buy on this. I'd rather be on the 4-hour and just have the 4-hour tell me to exit rather than watch the 1 hour get into a buy, or like have a bullish US dollar for Sunday and then the 4-hour just takes over with that, you know? Higher time frame triumphs the lower time frames every day of the week for me personally. So yeah, 4-hour is going to be the way for me. I might say something in the chat with the 1 hour time frame, but as for now, 4-hour time frame, I'm looking for the sells on the DXY. Okay, so that's for that. Let's go on over to EURUSD. Okay, so EURUSD still in this buy overall. Came very close to hitting stop loss. It never did. Before I continue, it's just like what I said with the DXY. With EURUSD, I can still see, I drew this out last week. I can still see price dropping down to like 1.17345 for a buy entry and then push to the upside. But I'm not really looking at that, especially with how the arbitrage on the 4-hour for the DXY and for the 4-hour on the Euro looks. But you'll see what I'm talking about for EURUSD right now. So other than that, again, guys, I am in this trade, so I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to delete everything else. And then I'll bring it back right here. Hello, there you go. All right, so this is the trade I'm in. I'm going to hide it real quick. Go on to the monthly. All right, so monthly time frame, same thing as with the DXY, just inverted. We have a doji candle looking, because this is, I consider this a doji right here. And then we have a bearish engulfing candle. This is telling me that the euro is getting ready to start switching over. Same thing like right here. You had a big doji, and then you had a hammer candle, price started pushing to the upside. So I'm expecting the euro to start turning around like really shortly, you know? Let me go ahead and mark up my main supply and demand zone. So this is a main supply zone for me. I'm gonna actually put this slightly higher. Yeah, I like this. I like this instead. Okay, got that marked off. I like over here where price just broke out of, and then over here where price is coming towards. Yeah, I like that. And then lastly, actually, you know, I'll also draw this out right here. And this chart, I'm gonna be hopefully I'll be able to have these zones marked out for a couple of weeks to a month. I don't like just doing a top down, like a naked top down analysis for myself all the time, because I want to see what I've been looking at on the past without having me looking at my past analysis, if that makes sense. All right, so EURUSD weekly time frame again, and we have this bearish engulfing candle right here with a shooting star. So that should have been a signal for me to be like, yo, look for more sells, price continue selling. One thing I do want to point out though with EURUSD is that it is at this fib zone where we got this previous bullish engulfing candle. It is at this 78.6. It is at the 78.6, and it's leaving a hammer candle off of that rejection right there. So I am definitely bullish on EURUSD right now. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm still definitely in that buy, but with me seeing this with that as well, I'm just like, okay, this might be going to the upside. But again, that monthly time frame, me looking at that monthly, I am well aware that price could be turning around very shortly. But I just wanted to point that out and say that this can be going to the upside, which I think it is, you know? I don't know why I deleted it. Let me go back. There we go. All right, so, yeah. As for me, guys, I'm still in this buy. Where is it? There you are. That does not look accurate by any means. But I don't feel like going back to looking at it, so let me just look at my MT4 real quick. I really try hard not to look at my MT4 while I do my analysis. I entered at the 71% right here. Stop loss was 1.21250, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was definitely not. There's no way. Oh, that was my. I'm tripping. That's the TP that I had set for, I think, short term wise. I'm not too sure. 1.1700. That was the stop loss. Yep, boom, and price almost touched it. Came very close to it, and the take profit was 1.21250. There we go. Okay, that's the trade that I got into. I'm still in this. I'm still holding it, and especially guys with this, like I mentioned, I had mentioned that I'm moving my stop loss right here because I wasn't exactly 100% sure at the time that the DXY was going to turn around. That's the reason why I'm like, okay, I'm not really feeling it. But then also I'm looking at this daily time frame. When I'm looking at this daily candle, this is an engulfing candle to me. This is an engulfing bullish candle to me. So with that, me seeing that, also with the rejection off of the 78.6, price is still there. I think I'm going to stack another position here. So I'm going to have this position right here still there. And I'm going to stack another position off of this 78.6. So I don't know how many of you guys remember me saying that, oh, for that position, for this position over here, I'm going to put like a 0.5 or 0.6% of my account. I'm going to put 0.4% of the rest of my account. And I'm going to have the exact same stop loss, because I feel like if price really does drop down to the downside on this, then price is gonna continue falling, you know? And if it continues falling, I don't want to risk any more of my account that I don't have to. So this is a 60 pip stop loss. Risk to reward is amazing, 1 to 6.89. But ultimately, this is just like a retracement, guys. Remember, I am starting to change my bias to EURUSD for a sell, but I still do see this buy possibility. But overall, what I am really trying to do is take EURUSD, and once it comes to the upside over here, I want to see what it does over here at 1.2100 or 1.21614. So again, I'm going to put an alert here. Look for potential sells. And this is where I'm looking if I'm going to get into sales. I'm going to get it up here. I'm not putting it at the 61.8 because this is basically right there. It's like the same thing, basically, just a little bit of a distance. But again, I'm really looking for this type of move moreover on EURUSD. But I'm getting into the sell right now, and then once price gets up there, then again, that's when I'll start to be like, okay, let's start to maybe look for hedges, right? Where I'm buying and I'm selling at the same time. If I take the sell right here, it doesn't play out, I still have a buy that's going, and it's gonna still put me in profit, and I would hold that buy, right? So that's what I'm looking at for EURUSD. Let me put my long positions in. This position, that's not the greatest one. I'm gonna have my TP set for right there, but this one that I'm adding for right now, I'm gonna set it up to possibly make higher highs. I'll put it up there for now, but I'm gonna see what it does to make higher highs, right? So that's for EURUSD. Let's go over to arbitrage. And another reason why I don't really want to sell it long term is because on arbitrage, I have it, and I've been waiting for it. Let me get rid of these right here. There we go. I've been waiting for this because now look, it's this week. Even if this weekly candle starts to go bullish a little bit, this is still going to close calling for a sell. Let me actually get rid of these as well. That was take profit trades that I think hit last week. It's still going to call for a sell. So I want this retracement and then a continuation to the downside. I've been waiting for this for the past how many weeks now, and it's starting to play out. So that's what I wanted to see right now. Daily time frame. By the time price gets up here, it's not going to call for a buy. So that's what I want to see still. Regardless, price push up. 4-hour time frame, we're starting to get that buy call. So it's the same buy that I'm already calling on technical analysis. This will be the early exit. I love it when I have a technical analysis and then I also have arbitrage lining up. I love it when that happens. So, and this is going to be so long exit all, and I'm only going to set it for only once. So once that gets set off, that'll be like, yo, you got to watch out, because now EURUSD might really fall. And so, and this is, it's, let me not even say anything. This trade right here is literally, well, not literally, it's going to be very identical with this, of how I would set my stop loss, right? So I'm going to go ahead and paste. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, I'm not going to do that. But then look at where the stop loss is at. Where would I usually put my stop loss on a trade like this? I put it under these lows. Very same stop loss. Now the take profit is definitely higher, but again, that's just in case if price does continue to go bullish and it doesn't decide to respect my analysis that I'm looking for, you know? So that's what I'm looking at for EURUSD, guys. I'm really bullish on it. I do know that the 1-hour time frame is most likely calling, yep, it's calling for a sell right now. And depending on how it looks, hey, if you want to take a short-term sell, because again, I did mention before I started doing my technical analysis that I do kind of want to see short-term wise EURUSD push down over here and then continue to the upside. So I might actually get into this sell with a small risk. I'm not risking anything near the amount that I'm risking on the bigger move, but you know, just to get into a trade, just push to the downside, continuation. Let me actually make sure that if I sent this out to multiple places. Yes, I did. Okay. So yeah, this is an actual move that can really play out, especially since the 1-hour time frame is calling for a sell. So I'm gonna just leave that right there. And again, this could be like a small intraday move for you. Look for 1.17340 to be potentially hit, and then price to push to the upside. And if price just keeps dropping, then hey, you take the L on the longer term buy. It is what it is, because usually I'd even have my stop loss down here, like under these lows for these type of moves. So for me to have my stop loss right here, that's actually like a big change for me. All right, let's go on over to AUDUSD. I don't know why this green is on. I'm pretty sure I didn't call anything. All right, so AUDUSD. Just wanted to point out what I had mentioned. Head and shoulders, that's what was up here that I was looking at. Price ended up pushing up on the 61.8, pushed up, dropped, came to the 77%, rejected off of it, 76%, rejected off of it multiple times, still pushing to the upside, still holding at this now considered demand zone, but was once the supply zone. So that's what was there. Let's go ahead and take all that off. Fresh month. Let's look at the monthly chart. Okay, so monthly chart. I'm starting to see shooting star on the monthly. 2 months ago, I started to see this. But other than me seeing this candlestick showing me that it could potentially drop, I mean, I don't see any other thing that's giving me really a bearish sign on the monthly time frame. This candle doesn't really tell me that much, except for like the candlestick is slightly bigger than the candle itself, and it's a bearish candle, but still that doesn't really tell me that this is gonna drop. So just have one confirmation for a drop so far. I'm gonna go ahead and draw out this this demand zone that price is currently respecting off of, and it currently was respecting over here. I'm gonna put out this supply zone right here that price came up to and rejected really hard off of back in February. Going over to the weekly time frame, price has just been, well, I can't say price has been consolidated between this and that because it only touched there once, and it's touched down here like 3 times already. Well, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So I can't really call that consolidation, but you guys know what I mean, right? Price has just been using this current demand zone as a support for a while now, right? And I'm gonna draw out, you know what? Yeah, let me use this as well. Let me not discriminate. I'll use that as a weekly zone. That price, this is what price has been consolidating in between. And then it just, again, head and shoulders is there, but I don't really, this weekly candle right here is telling me that this is gonna start turning around. That's basically what I'm seeing right now. But then I see this week, last week's weekly candle, and it's like not really a doji, but it's not really a hammer either. So, and it's rejecting off of this same zone. But then on the daily candle, this candle is telling me that yes, it wants to continue going to the upside. And again, from this bullish move right here, from this bullish move, from this low to this high, where price made this higher high, we can see that prices, we can see that where this demand zone is at lines up exactly with the 78.6, and that's what price came and rejected off of right here. So, and especially with this hammer candle right here, because that's all it looks like to me, a pin bar. All I could really see is AUDUSD pushing to the upside, right? And so I do see this bearish engulfing candle right here, which then makes me say that, oh, well, if this is going to turn around for a retracement and then continue falling, then this is what I would be looking for on AUDUSD. But there's multiple things that are telling me price is just going to turn around and go bullish right now. I would probably come and say, okay, if price can come back up to this supply zone and reject, then I'll start looking for a sell to take it to the downside. But as of right now, on the weekly time frame and on the monthly, this is extremely bearish, and the monthly candlesticks aren't really giving me any signs that are telling me that this is going to turn around. So, oh wait, what am I doing? I'm gonna actually draw out a line over here. And I'm gonna have this as a 61.8 possible sell on AU. We'll see what that does, but I'm not really like looking super forward to it, because again, higher time frames this is definitely still bullish. And again, price has been respecting up in this zone. That's a buy box. Where is it? Oh, this is definitely the wrong tool. So, with that being said, I'm looking for this to push to the upside. Like, I still want to see this push to the upside. If I was in a swing trade, with on AUDUSD, after all of this, because price came down and wicked this at first, price went up, my stop loss would have been at break even, and it would have got wicked out. I probably would still be looking for buys here. I'm still looking for buys until this gets broken. Like, if this candle would have broken down here, then I'd be saying otherwise. But until that happens, I'm really bullish on AUDUSD. Let me make sure that nobody's said anything in the chat. Oops, yes they have. Agreed. Awesome. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to the 4-hour time frame on AUDUSD. Inverted head and shoulders over here. I'm seeing, oh yeah, this is gonna go bullish, guys. I'm seeing inverted head and shoulders right here. 1, 2, 3. Bullish candles over there already. If this doesn't play out, which I think it most likely is, especially with how NFP was last week with the US dollar and how I'm expecting the US dollar to drop right now. Only other thing that I can really say about this is for price to give you three white shoulders, or I don't really care for that name, but if anything, I would just probably expect price to come back down to 0.75614 and then continuation to the upside. But if this head and shoulders holds, then I expect it to definitely push to the upside. Here, let me make this even better. Identify it even better. But there are multiple things that are telling me that this is like gonna turn around. So where's my text? Head. Copy, paste. Left shoulder. Copy that. Paste it over here. And over here, right shoulder. I feel like price is gonna start moving already. And again, swing trade. If I was looking for swing trades, I'm still looking for buys here, and it'll be probably the same thing as what I'm doing with AUDUSD. I'd probably just have a swing trade, get in right here, and just have my stop loss below these lows. And if price breaks below these lows, I'm expecting prices to just keep dropping, to be quite honest with everybody. So yeah, this is I still expect AUDUSD to push to the upside. It'd be kind of the same thing. If price comes up here, I'd be looking for, okay, maybe I'll look to hedge it, because by then I'd be definitely 1-to-1 if price came up here. So this is basically, yeah, what I'm looking at for AUDUSD. But yeah, I could also naturally, like I mentioned, I could see the possibility of this right shoulder getting violated, price pushing down to 0.75614, and then pushing to the upside. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into an entry on this as well, and then take it to the upside. And again, if I get down here, then I might get in that entry. Let's go on over to arbitrage. I'm gonna go over to the weekly time frame real quick. Gonna get rid of all the drawings here first, and then what I'm going to do is weekly time frame. I'm waiting for that breakout, this possible breakout. I'm waiting for that retracement, continuation to the downside for a position trade. This is going to be a big trade if this happens. And it's the same thing with EURUSD and the other pairs. But again, I need to see it happen first. Daily time frame called for this sell. Excuse me. Let me actually drink some water real quick. Okay. Daily time frame called for a sell. With this, I would have been really conflicted by seeing this price breaking out past under this RSI line, then pushing back to the upside, but then it was respecting this upper danger zone. And so once I would have seen this, that's where I should have been like, okay, AUDUSD is gonna fall. So I dropped the ball on that one for sure, but I do want to see this like at least turn around a little bit before dropping. What am I doing? 4-hour time frame. Ooh, price is looking shiesty over here. Caught for this sell, but now it looks like it's about to call for a fake. It looks like this might be a fake out, and price is gonna call for a buy. I'm not gonna necessarily trade off of this, but I am, like I said, I am getting into a buy on it regardless. We already have the level pro on the 4-hour calling for buys, and the arbitrage Z is about to cross over the ground zero. There you go. That's what it's called. I remembered, ground zero. For price to push up past ground zero and then continue to the upside. So yeah, I'm bullish on AUDUSD. looks like this wants to sell, but it's not looking that great for it right now either. So again, AUDUSD, I am bullish on it. If this happens, then hey, I might get an entry on it, but I don't think it is. I think the inverted head and shoulder is going to play out. This just looks nice. This really looks nice for it to just play out right now. All right, let's go on over to, wait, first of all, I'm in a buy. Let me show this buy one more time. I'm sorry, guys. Almost forgot to re-show it. So AUDUSD, I'm looking for this bullish move. So risk to reward of 1 to 4. Once price gets to 0.77400, I would start to look for a potential, like, okay, I'm going to take majority of my profits. And then like once it gets to like probably like 0.77973, I might look for a potential sell. But again, it's good. It depends on what things look like, right? So that's for AUDUSD. Get into that buy. Let's go on over to USDCHF. And I'd be getting into details on these trades, huh, man? Getting deeper into my bag. Okay, so gonna go ahead and delete all of this nonsense. Well, it's not nonsense, but still. Going over to the monthly time frame. So monthly time frame, same thing, man. Same thing with USDCHF, man. Huge engulfing bullish candle on the monthly time frame. I do not want to mess with this. But with this happening, I deeply need a retracement. I deeply need a retracement for this right here. Let me go ahead and mark off these zones. And if it keeps going, then by all means. But with it being at this supply zone up here, it's kind of shiesty. It's kind of shiesty. It's a whole lot of trading that needs to be included, or there's a whole lot of trading that needs to get cleared out, I feel like, right? So let's go over to the weekly time frame. Bullish days. Starts not really seeing anything to turn around with necessarily, but I do like seeing this wick. This looks like it's a shooting star possibly, so we might start seeing some turnaround. But next week, if I could really get like a bearish engulfing candle right after the shooting star next week, that would be mad love. And I think we might get that because I am expecting the US dollar to what? Drop. So let's go on over to the daily time frame. God price has been chilling over here all last week. Was doing some wicking. I think I was actually in a trade from this, guys. Hold on, I'm gonna do some. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was in a trade, or I had called a trade. Let me not say that I was in a trade. I had called a trade on USDCHF. Did I, or did I say get out of it? Oh yeah, okay, I did say get out of it. Okay, just making sure. Oh, I think I messed everything up. And it's alright, I could do it again. It's not like I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so monthly time frame, set up these zones real quick. Prices at this major supply zone, so want to watch for that. This is where price broke out of. I'm just gonna draw this out just for the hell of it, and then draw this major demand zone down here that price rejected off of. Yeesh. Yeah, all decent monthly areas. Awesome, cool. Weekly time frame again, that looks like a shooting star possibly, but I would love to see an engulfing bearish candle follow up after that. USDCHF, this is bullish. It is definitely bullish on the daily time frame. I can't say that it's not. It broke this bearish structure, retested it, continued up to the upside. That might have been a solid trade. But overall, if I were to get into a trade on this, what I would have to see, and especially with the rejecting like this, I would have to see that fall 0.92900. I look for a buy and continuation to the upside. So that's what I would look at for personally with USDCHF. If I'm looking for buys. So first of all, I'm going to set that up as an area of interest. Don't need that. So just want to set an alert and say possible buy entry on USDCHF, because it's definitely showing that it wants to buy, but there's still this much more trading that it can really come up and grab all of this liquidity that's down over here. Because if I were to take this to down over here from where it took off, from where it really took off, because it started right here, just been bullish, gave a bull flag, and then took off again. So I would want to, again, I want to see this liquidity down here at, well, not liquidity necessarily, but price just for a retracement to come down back at 0.90423. So again, I'm going to add an alert here and say long-term buys down here. Right? And so if I can get those long-term buys down over here, that'd be lovely as well. But over here, it'd be more of a short-term trade over here type of thing, where I'd get this buy, move my stop loss slightly lower than these lows, and then continue taking price to the upside type of thing. Not there necessarily, but this would be a type of move, 1 to 5. That's actually pretty clean. I'm gonna keep that up there. But overall, if I don't get that and price does end up coming back down over here, I'm setting up the trade now so I don't have to do it later. Then I could be looking for really that big push with this, yeah, my stop loss would probably be like down over here or something. So this would be a very big, very long trade. But again, that's if this first one doesn't play out. So I'm gonna save this as well, hide it. But I'm looking for this trade overall. So USDCHF push to the low side, continuation to the upside. Going over to the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, I still see all of this still being possibly like still price coming down all the way down here. I definitely see that. But shorter time frame wise, I'd want to see that. And on the 4-hour, just look at the 4-hour time frame. If I wanted to try to get a sell to catch to down here, then not even to catch it to go down there, but if I were just looking for sells right now, which is kind of what I am looking for, because I want to see price push down, for price to retrace back up to here, then continue to downside maybe. That's what I would be looking for if I'm getting off of a sell, just based off of technical analysis. And it'd be even to down over here. So the risk reward on this type of move would be like what? A 25 pip stop loss. Yeah, so if price does do this, then yeah, I'll definitely take that trade. Like put like 0.3% on it or something like that, or whatever I think it would be good for that type of trade. But overall, this is bullish, and even on the 1-hour time frame, it's still bullish. There's nothing saying that, oh, this is gonna turn around right here. So just be careful with it overall. But that, like I said, that's what I'm looking at for USDCHF. 1-hour time frame just called for a buy, and it looks like it's barely not retesting this, but it could definitely push to the upside for a buy. So for that retracement for the sell, hey, this might be your buy opportunity. I don't personally want to get into this. And 4-hour time frame, it's rejecting. First of all, hold on. Wait, what is this? Weekly time frame. Oh yeah, weekly time frame has been kind of the same thing, but it looks like this just wants to keep going higher. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get rid of all this. And if I can get that retracement, then absolutely. But it just looks like it's gonna keep going higher for some reason. Well, not for some reason. Daily time frame is extremely bullish, but yeah, 4-hour time frame is holding right here at this upper danger zone. So what I'm really saying is that if price, it hasn't called for a sell yet. It's been, the last thing it called was a buy. If price holds here, then it's gonna keep falling, and I like the chances of it falling. So what I'm going to do is be a little risky, and I'm actually gonna get into this sell, and I'm gonna move my stop loss up over here. So this is a 51 pip stop loss. but this is one single trade that I'll get into, where rather than waiting for that retracement and then a sell, I'm gonna go ahead and get into this for me personally, right? But then again, this possibility right here of price pushing up to 0.94526 exists hardcore, and most likely if this does push up, like even if it comes to like 0.94410, I might exit. But again, it's just about how much you're risking. Like for this amount, I'm probably going to risk like 0.4%. Same thing as what I'm going to risk on that other trade, 0.4% of my account. Not going to put like the whole, I'm not going to throw a whole like margin call it or anything like that, you know? So that's for you, chef. So going to buy on that. S&P is making higher highs. I don't know why people try to deny. No, I'm just playing. I am just playing with you guys. But yeah, last week I remember that I said don't try to sell this, even though price did drop quite shortly after. But then again, didn't just made higher highs on it. So I'm like, that's the reason why I was like, don't really sell it. If you would have set that buy stop that I mentioned, let me see what would have happened. If you would have gone to that buy stop, you would have immediately gone drawdown, might have even wanted to exit out the trade, but then price would have, let's see. I really like, because I feel like price, this is literally where traders would be like, oh, I want to get out. But this was literally just a break and retest of this low right here. That's funny. Oops. A lot of traders probably would have got out like right here-ish. Personally speaking, if there was a buy stop right here. And look where price went up to. Went all the way up. Almost 60 points on the S&P. 56 points, which is like 560 pips. That's a lot, man. But yeah, S&P making higher highs. If you want to sell it, I mean, go ahead, I guess. But it's just making higher highs, so it's kind of like, why would you? I would need to see it make a retracement for me to be, before I look for any type of buy entries on it. So, but again, engulfing monthly, I really don't know why. I mean, look, I think this was like, this and COVID was really like barely the only times that the S&P was really truly bearish at any point in time. And even with this, it was only like 2 months and then skyrocket. That's crazy, man. Yeah, guys, all I could really say, personally speaking, if this falls, just probably look for another buy entry like right here. That's all I have for you on S&P. NASDAQ. Again, do not sell off of this. US 30 and, well, first of all, let's go into the monthly time frame. You see how bullish this thing is? Yeah, you have 2 weeks of candles looking, hold on. I'm just gonna actually remove everything, and then I'll show you guys why I say don't try to sell it. You have 2 months of bearish candles. This looks like a shooting star, so I don't blame people for trying to sell it. But then you need more confirmations. You need another confirmation to tell you, okay, yes, you do want to sell it. And this thing is just making higher highs. So that's the reason why, number one, I was like, why would you try to sell this like long term? It's kind of crazy to do that. But also, when you come into the weekly time frame, yes, I am well aware of this. Oh, well, price did this. It did the impulse and retraced. And now it's at my 71% level, where I would usually be looking for sells. Yes, I would be doing that if it was in a downtrend. This is in a major uptrend. Last week was an extremely bullish week on the weekly. Last month was a pretty damn bullish month after faking out so many sellers. This looks like it's just going to make higher highs to me, just based off of looking at what the candles are telling me, right? Could be wrong. This could definitely fall. and based off of my usual strategy, I can make a whole lot of money. I'm not betting on my strategy though. Look at these candlesticks on the 4-hour time frame. Bullish. It's just been bullish. Like, not necessarily looking for any type of sells on this. If I were to look for an entry, which I don't even think it'll happen for a buy, I really don't think my entry would really come out from this. But if it does, it's either not even. I would even get it from down here because I already see that it did the retracement for all of that. I would take it from this low to this high, and then wait for 12968.9, and that's what I would look for potential buys. But even that, I just think this is not going to get there. I just think this is going to keep making higher highs on it. So that's for the NASDAQ. Now, like I mentioned, it is at my zone that if you really wanted to, by all means, you can go ahead. If you really want to, you can go ahead and get into a sell. But be careful, because again, daily and weekly and monthly, they're not telling me to sell based off of what the candlesticks are telling me. So it is what it is. Arbitrage 4-hour called for the sell, never looked back. A daily time frame looks like it's about to call for the sell. It broke out of this, so I would even say that I need the retest and a continuation on that. Weekly time frame, this has always been bullish. Even when it did this dip from COVID, it was still bullish. That's crazy to me. 1 hour time frame on arbitrage, it might be setting up for a sell. If I can get a breakout retest, then hey, we might get our buy entry down over here. But other than that, I am bullish on it. 30-minute time frame, you got the sell. So if you want, you can take that. Go ahead, but I'm not taking that. I'm waiting for this 1 hour breakout. And then let's go, of course, to the Dow Jones. Dow Jones again. I had already talked about this last week. It did man them dirty. I was able to get an entry from there. I took like my profits up here, but yeah, got in the trade. It stopped us out on this candle, then made an engulfing, continued to the upside. Beautiful. And the same thing, guys. Look at the monthly on the US 30. Morobozu full candle right here. It looks like it's gonna keep going. Weekly time frame. Bullish engulfing candle. Long wick to the downside. Keep going it keeps pushing higher. Again, if you want to sell, by all means, just be careful for that L. I would definitely look for just any type of like buy entries back down here or something. I don't know, because if what the US indices love to do is when they sell, they drop hard so that people could be like, oh, let's start selling our stocks, but then price just keeps pushing to the upside. So yeah, US, I just see more opportunities on the NASDAQ rather than on the Dow Jones or S&P until I see things play out throughout the week more, right? So going over to USD Mexican, let me speed things up because it's already 7:13. I feel like I've been on here for a minute. Let me see if there's any chats. Nothing on the chat. Cool. Okay. Let me go ahead and speed things up, guys. I've been doing too much talking. All right, so USD Mexican pesos. I'm not recharting this because it's already solid. Grab the liquidity, drop like I had mentioned, back down over here at these levels. I'm gonna wait for it because all I see now is liquidity down here, price dropping even lower. I'm gonna be patient on USD Mexican. In fact, let me just do a new chart up like I'll do with everything else. Why not? Monthly time frame. Okay, I see this bullish engulfing candle because the candle is bigger than that body candle, and it just wicks right there. And then we had a kind of hammer, not really a hammer right there, but then we have this very bearish month on USD Mexican. So I'm not really bullish on it right now. I'm more than happy that I didn't get into any trades on it. A weekly time frame though, it could be saying that, hey, I'm just retesting this right here. I want to go bullish. I want to get out of here. I want to skedaddle. It could be definitely doing that. And if it does, by all means, because again, guys, from this bullish move, this is still, well, not that one, sorry. From this, where it broke out, if I'm not mistaken, where it broke out to the upside retest, this is still my area where I'm looking for sells. For buys on USD Mexican. But especially with the way how the DXY is looking, I might want to hold on thinking about selling this for now. If you can give me some more better, like on the lower time frame, and give me better like candlestick patterns that tell me that, oh, it's potentially gonna buy, then for sure. But I'm kind of low-key still bearish on this, and it's bearish on a higher time frame wise. It is definitely still bearish, and there's a trend line right here that it obviously respected. So I'm kind of really not gonna touch it until I really get what this thing is gonna do, because again, it just, to me personally, this looks like it's gonna keep dropping. Because look, from this one wick right here, from this one candle right here, price came up, retested, continued up, price hit this trend line, came back down, 3 days rejected, then pushed up a little bit. Now it broke this trend line. Now I'm not looking for the buys here. Even if it's gonna hold this fib right here, I'm not looking for the buys, especially with the US dollar. I'm expecting it to drop. I'm gonna wait on USD Mexican, and if I miss it, it is what it is. I'm cooling on that. But no, I'm good love, enjoy. 4 hour time frame, bearish is, yeah, I'm good off of the, I'm not trying to buy this right now. I'll wait. I'm going over to arbitrage. 1 hour time frame, well, there you go. It's calling for the buy if you want to get into that. I might get into this for an intraday trade. In fact, yeah, by all means, go ahead and get into it for an intraday, because I kind of want to see a retracement to that broken uptrend, and then a drop to the downside. Move your stop loss to these previous lows, and hey, happy trading. I'll set the alert for the exit. Long exit all. Only once, create. There you guys go. As for tacos, like I said, I'm really gonna be patient on tacos. I'm not gonna like try to get into it, but arbitrage wise, I do want to see this retracement right here. Let me come over here and show you guys what I'm talking about. Because, okay, so for one, this trend line got broke, right? That's what I want to see price kind of retrace up to. That's number one. And number two, from this drop, I want to see retracement as well from when it broke this trend line. Because you can see right here, price rejected, came up, then pushed down. And so, yeah, I kind of want to see this retracement. Even if it's 20.52700, that's where I would look for the retracement for a possible sell. Because again, all I really see right now is this price selling, especially with it grabbing this liquidity up here and then just falling like how it did. I'm not comfortable buying it this time. So that is for USD Mexican. Well, except for the short-term move that I called, right? All right, gold. Gold. So been waiting for this move. Markets wasn't open on Friday, so you couldn't really do anything with gold last week Friday. But I still stand by this analysis, guys. Like, after I saw price drop through this, I was just waiting for it to come back up here, and now I'm still taking it to the downside. So I did call for a sell on this, but it wasn't on the charts. It was just like on my MT4, and so I am in on a trade on this already at 17.25. My stop loss is above these previous highs, and I'm taking it again. I'm just taking it to make lower lows at this point. I'm not really trusting this double bottom that I'm seeing right here, and I'll show you guys on the weekly, and I'll show you why I'm not looking for it like that. Or on the weekly. First of all, before I do that, let me actually hide all of my drawings. I want to see what the monthly looks like. Okay, monthly wasn't really, kind of not really a doji, but not really doing anything. So we'll see what this month does. The weekly time frame. Oh, I do not like that weekly candle. I do not like how this weekly candle looks. This looks like it might be turning around, guys. We gotta watch it. Ooh, hold up. I did not mean to do that. We gotta watch out for that buy. I don't like this weekly candle. This weekly candle could be telling us that price is gonna turn around. Daily candle, 2 daily bullish engulfing candles. Yeah, we gotta be careful with this one for sure. But again, this double bottom that I'm seeing right here, I'm not trusting it. Let me grab my annotation tool from here, because as you can see, you see this double bottoms right here. If you come over here, look what price did as well. Double bottom, gave another double bottom, price pushed up, consolidated, then fell right through. History repeats itself. That's why I'm over here like, I'm not too sure if I want to really sell this. I mean, yeah, I do know that there was some over here, but it's the same thing, guys. Like, you had 2 double bottoms where you had one, then price went up immediately, then another one where price came down, and it stayed for another day, then started to push up, retraced, and then pushed back down. It's the same thing, so I'm waiting for the same exact thing to happen. And if it doesn't, if my stop loss gets hit, then I'm totally fine with that. But I'm just looking at how history repeats itself. So that is what gold. I'm in this sell. I'm pretty sure arbitrage is kind of going against me on this one, and I don't blame it, because price could definitely break through this resistance that is at right now that pushed it upside and still come to my 1762 or 1775 levels and then still drop, but that's not what I'm looking for. 1 hour time frame, again, this is probably calling for a buy. This 4 hour, I'm glad that I mentioned that. Okay, let's not try to get into this 4 hour sell or anything like that. Let's wait for it. Daily time frame still hasn't called for a buy. And so I'm still 1735. I'm still watching for that as a possibility for price to come up to, but I'm still in this sell. And weekly time frame, again, overall, the trend is a sell. Now, this level pro is definitely not showing love to me for a sell type of vibe. And I don't know why the arbitrage Z doesn't pop up on gold, but still, overall, I'm still very much bearish on gold. And so yeah, let's see what it does. I like where price is at right now, for it to crush a lot of buyers' dreams. I'm just playing. I love y'all. Even if you're going against me, I still love you. So yeah, gold in there like swimwear. Let me look at what the 15-minute time frame looks like actually. Yeah, setting up for that sell. Let's do this. I'm in there like swimwear. 1740 or 1750, I would say put your stop loss and take profit 1636, because I feel like this, once it comes back down here, it's gonna just crash. Let's look at the Bitcoin, yes. Let me look at what my markup is on here currently. Nothing important? Cool, remove drawings. Alright, monthly time frame on Bitcoin. Beautiful, isn't it? Quite beautiful. Bullish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Bullish for 6 months. Now let me come back over here and see something. Nah, I can't compare those candles to these, because back then these candles were looking like how the monthly candles look. You see what I mean? And look how many months this was bullish. So we haven't really gone anywhere with Bitcoin. Like, and there's something that Paint In had posted to his channel. For those that are on Zoom, I apologize. I'll post this picture. I'll post the picture up in my chat later. But for those that are on YouTube, check this out. So let me grab my. Actually, you know what? New share, and I'm just gonna share my screen so everybody can see it. So This is Bitcoin's price history, right? Per halving, right? So first halving, when price was at $0, it skyrocketed past $25, like $27, $28. And then it dropped back down before 2012, and then it was stagnant at $12.50. The second halving, which is what this is in this smaller time frame right here, let me show you guys, which is what this whole thing is. That's what this is, and for the second halving, right, where price then pushed up to past 1,000, almost to 1,250, then dropped and then started averaging out around 750, right? That was the second halving. Third halving, this is where the second halving took place, right here, right? This is where all of this took place on here, right? Third halving, price pushed up from the 750s all the way down to 20,000, all the way up to 20,000, which made it all-time high on Bitcoin and made Bitcoin the best investment in the world that the world has never seen. I know. And then price pushed back down, and it came down to 5,000, 3,000 somethings, and this is what we saw during COVID. And then price pushed up during the halving, and then price averaged out around that 10,000 area, right? This is where we're at right now. This is where we're at. History repeats itself. You've seen that it's already done it once, twice, 3 times. Chances of this coming up to 40,000 400,000 before it drops are extremely high, especially because we're barely just over here. So with that being said, guys, if you don't understand why the market is gonna, if you don't understand or see reasons for you to be trying to sell Bitcoin for the long term, why are you trying to catch it at the top, like right here? The chances of you catching this is way low, but the chances of you catching something like this for this drop, that's way higher, right? Same thing right here. Chances of you catching this at this high is low, but chances for you to catch something like right here, or possibly even right here for it to drop down, it's way higher. Where it does this drop, retracement, continuation, that is way higher than for you to try to sell right here when price it has so much more room and potential it could come up to, right? So just wanted to point that out real quick. Let me go to a new share. Going over back to the screen. I'm sorry, I know I took that long. So with Bitcoin, again, guys, don't try to sell this right now. Wait for signs to tell you that, okay, yes, now you want to go ahead and sell this. Weekly time frame, not really a telling candle. This looks like it wants to go bullish. This is just the resistance. I can't call. Well, I could call this a supply zone because price is rejecting off of it while I'm trying to make higher highs. Price is rejecting off of that. But honestly speaking, guys, I kind of do see that this could possibly go bullish. What I did want to see though, if this is gonna sell for a short-term sell, I already got the bearish the breakout yesterday that I mentioned with what I was seeing for arbitrage. So now I got the breakout, want the retracement back up to 58,876. I even take it right here, probably at the 61.8, because this matches up more with arbitrage. Add an alert, only one to create, and probably take it down to like 55,200 or something like that, if I can get that pricing, right? So I'm just looking for this and this, if that's what it's going to do, if Bitcoin is going to sell. But I could be wrong on this, because guys, just, again, this is extremely bullish to me. I don't think that this is gonna drop unless it breaks like these lows of 42,000. I can't say that this is gonna drop. I can't. And telling you, oh, well, it's at this resistance or supply zone, go ahead and watch for a drop on it, giving you false hope, that's not the move. So just be patient and wait for better signs. On the daily 4-hour time frame, I was waiting for the sign. Now let's see what happens. Going over to arbitrage real quick. Yeah, 15-minute, I'm not interested in it. 30-minute, neither. 1 hour, it's about to call for that buy. Now this buy could be what could push Bitcoin to make higher highs. So just be careful with the sells. But yeah, I want to see this RSI line get hit before I get into this this sell on Bitcoin. So short position, I'm gonna put it up here at 58,700. And if price really does break through these highs right here, then I'm probably gonna get out. Like, if I probably even want to put a stop loss right here, 755 pip stop loss. So make sure that you are using good risk management, because Bitcoin, it be moving. And I could possibly even see a stop hunt wick to the upside, then a drop. But overall, what I want to see, I'm going to put my stop loss right there, 1,256 pips for 4,265 pips. That's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin right now. Waiting for that Ripple. Not a Ripple. Ripple is, again, I still have my buy stop here. I'm not gonna really talk too much about Ripple, especially since I'm like, how long have I been on here? I've been on here for like almost an hour already. But yeah, breakout, retest, continuation. This is the setup that I wanted, but I still think that once price gets up here, it's gonna just keep going. So I have a buy stop here, and so that's with Ripple. Ripple is literally the most valuable it's ever been, and it's at 62 cents. Ripple as a coin has came up as high as $3.30. Invest in Ripple, guys. So yeah, that's all I have to say with Ripple. Daily time frame calling for buys. I know the weekly's calling for buys. 4 hours calling for buys. 1 hour's calling for buys. That buy stop, that's what I'm waiting for. Litecoin. So Litecoin, we are still up on Litecoin, and it's currently up around 271 pips. It came up for a total of 429 pips, 430 pips basically. I'm still expecting this to go bullish. What I could see happening possibly though, if it is going to like do the retracement and continuation like Bitcoin is doing, I could definitely see this coming up to 210, then dropping, and then possibly taking us out of our trade before continuing to the upside again. But until that happens, I'll tell you guys to hold this because it's bullish as well. It's just giving some rejections, hard times up here, but all-time highs, I believe they'll be here shortly. So that's for Litecoin. Don't really want to talk too much on that. We're already in the trade, so no need to. 30 minutes calling for a sell. 4 hour time frame. If this rejects right here, then yeah, Litecoin we might start looking for sells if price really holds right here. But if it doesn't, then I expect it to fall just like Bitcoin. But in the 1 hour time frame is calling for buys, and so Bitcoin's calling for buys, Litecoin's calling for buys, and Ripple's calling for buys. And Ethereum, what is Ethereum doing? Making all-time highs. Ethereum's making all-time highs. Why would you want to try to sell this? Like, it's making all-time highs. I can't sell this. All I could really say, don't sell it. Again, guys, I missed my entry right here at the buy limit. I missed it by how many pips? By 382 pips. That's how much I missed getting into this buy. That would have paid me if I got into it. I would have been up 5,955 pips. That's insane. That is insane. But yeah, so with that being said, with Ethereum, yeah, it's just gonna come up to 2,342 personally. It's gonna keep going bullish. GBPUSD, super simple setup, so I'm not gonna change anything on this. Let me actually try to speed things up. GBPUSD, I'm in the buy. Where is my buy actually? There we go. I'm in this buy right here at 1.37612. I'm gonna hold it. This was a totally different trade, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it the same trade? I think it's the same trade, literally. Yeah, same trade. What I could really see happening on GBPUSD is for price to push down, come back down to 1.37768, and then push to the upside. So I'm gonna move this to right here for right now, and so we'll see what GBPUSD does. But it could literally hold where it's at and continue pushing to the upside, because that was literally what I had mentioned how many weeks ago, and I still hold that same analysis. So let's see what price does on GU. GU 1 hour time frame is calling for a sell, so that retracement might be happening, but I'm not really too sure. I don't care for this sell, so I'm not going to tell you guys to get into it. 4 hour time frame called for the buy. Buy still playing out nicely. I mentioned that last week. And daily time frame, if I want to sell this, I still have to kind of see 1.388878 get hit before I consider buying it. But before I consider selling it, but I'm not looking for sells on it overall. So I'm just gonna stay in my buy for GU, and I'll talk about it more like throughout the week. And GA, man, GA is a tricky one. GA is a tricky one, so it broke out to the upside and hit that supply zone up here. Let me go over here to the daily time frame. So if I was in a swing trade, I would have been way out of the trade, but I'm not in it anymore. Get rid of all this stuff. I'll just get rid of everything. Monthly time frame. Seeing some hammers here, indicating that price might push up to the upside. I would love an engulfing monthly candle, but that doesn't look like what might be happening. And I still see that price could definitely just respect where it came and rejected off of, like I had, and push to the downside. This is still extremely bearish, and it hasn't broken weekly structure for me to say that it's bullish. So until this happens, I can't be bullish on GA. And even if this does happen, all I could see is price possibly coming to grab some liquidity up here and then dropping. So I personally don't really care for GA for the buys. I want to see this sell. And it's funny because GA usually does its own thing compared to the other pairs. So I'm personally just going to wait and see if this is going to get filled up or what it's going to do right here. I don't really have any indication of what GA is going to do at this point in time. What it could really do is climb up back over here and then drop, but I'm not going to bet on that. So I'm just going to leave it alone and see what it's doing. But for now, all I see is going bullish. Daily time frame, it's been calling for a buy. 4 hour time frame, setting up for a sell shortly. And the 1 hour time frame, it is calling for us. It's going to call for a sell, but again, I don't like it, so I'm not going to get into it. So yeah, GA, I'm just watching it for now. Trying to look at pairs. GJ, I mean, it's just making higher highs, guys. I've already taken my profits off of this trade. Amazing. How many pips did I take? 390 pips off of it. That was fantastic. So yeah, that was a good setup. You guys see me do it all over and over. So yeah, prices came up to this high that I was saying that, okay, I want to see price come up to after it, and it finally did. So now I kind of want to see this liquidity get grabbed on GJ before I start looking like, okay, now I want to start seeing this turnaround. So where's that dollar sign? Okay, so I want to see this liquidity get grabbed up here, even possibly up here. I want to see this get grabbed, price push up, and then show me that it's going to start selling. But until then, I'm kind of going to leave it alone. This is really overextended, guys. Hella bullish. EURGBP looks like it's gonna keep tanking. Let me go over to the 4-hour time frame. This looks like it's just gonna keep falling. You scared me. Oh, I know, but I'm doing this. Okay, I'm sorry. You scared the hell out of me. Alright, dang, this is like one of the longest analysis that I think I've ever done. EG, I think this is just gonna keep personally falling down. So don't try to sell it, or don't try to buy it. I mean, if you're gonna sell it, sell it after he breaks these lows. I'm already out of this trade. Let me be real. I'm out of it. That was a very nice sell. I'm glad I extended the stop loss a little bit on that. So yeah, that's for EURGBP and EURAUD. Stop loss. This stop loss should be at break even. And it's been floating around. This, I think it could keep going, but I mean, if you're not in the buy, don't get in it. Just wait at this point and see what price does, because I just personally see this continuing to fall, and especially if AUDUSD is going to go bullish, this is going to keep falling. So 1.54144 is where the first entry was at. If that gets stopped out, again guys, don't get in. And EURNZD is slowly creeping back down to 1.66347, which is my buy entry, so I'm going to be watching for that, but until then I'm leaving it alone. Any other questions? I know that this was a long as analysis, but I wanted to get through in these markets. Nothing. All right. Well, thank you guys for those of you guys that hopped on. I do know it's Easter. Happy Easter to everybody. I'm pretty sure that's why not a lot of people are on here. The playback will be posted shortly, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all that popped up. Let's go ahead and make some money this week. Later, you guys.